One of the last Mondays before Christmas and Hanukkah and all that good stuff. And I hope that you are getting close to your Christmas bonus this year, kind of like Clark Griswold. But I bet you're not anywhere close to a $75 million Christmas bonus, because that's what the richest contract in sports history just got signed for. And that's just the guaranteed money. I'll tell you how much the entire contract is worth here in just a little bit. It's unbelievable. We're creating a whole upper class of athletes, way worse than we did before. They're now the billionaires in society. It's unbelievable. Going to talk about that. The Trump media masterclass over the weekend. He still owns the media. Shame on me for forgetting this, but he absolutely does. Little Daniel Penny update as far as the case, but more importantly, the fallout from this and whether or not we're listening to that. To lighten all that up, at the end of it, we got to talk about a Florida man that has created a giant leg lamp, like from A Christmas Story. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to start with that sports news because I'm just fascinated by it. So Juan Soto is one of the best players in Major League Baseball history, and now he is the richest baseball player in history. No, he's the richest athlete, pro athlete in sports history, because he just signed and I think it's 15 years, it's between 13 and 15. With the Mets, they won the bidding. Congratulations, Mets fans. For $765 million. 765. And you're thinking, well, he didn't really get all that. It's deferred and this and that. Well, okay, fine. The guaranteed money before the contract kicks in to anything is a check. $75 million cash. How about that? Thinking about putting your kid in Little League Baseball? You might want to. Might have the next Juan Soto on your hands, but there you go. But it's a weird thing, because I was in this too. Because my Red Sox were in the bidding, along with, I think it was the Yankees were in it, as well as the Mets, and, you know, maybe the Dodgers. You know, who the heck knows? And I was the same, like, I wanted my team to get him, but I couldn't shake myself from thinking this is a billionaire, because with a couple of savvy investments, you're talking about a billionaire ball player, right? You're not that far away. Plus, the money he's already made. You know, he's a veteran player anyway. So he's a billionaire ball player. I kept on thinking, okay, I'd be happy if my team got him, or any team really, but we can't ever, it takes away our right, and we love to do this as sports fans and consumers, complain about ticket prices and beer prices and parking prices and concession prices, right? One or the other. We want the best players as sports fans. Can't complain about it when they're dishing out that kind of money. Good for him. It's a free market. You're able to get it? Go get it. Whatever. Wow. $75 million guaranteed. All right, shame on me. I was sitting here about this time on Friday saying, I don't know why Trump is going to do this NBC interview. I don't understand why he's taping this. Taped it on, I think he did tape it on Friday. And it aired yesterday, NBC with Kristen Welker. Shame on me, because it was a good reminder and a sit-down interview why Trump still owns the media. A media masterclass put in on this thing. And if you haven't seen it, watch the clips, because it's phenomenal. Here's one quick little example. She brings up, of course, what are they going to do? What is NBC? The worst of the worst fake mainstream news. What are they going to do? Project 2025. Now you have people who wrote that in your administration. I don't know how, but somehow I forgot how good he is at shutting down propaganda. Here's just a quick example of it.
I purposely didn't even want to see it, because when somebody like you asked me a question about Project 2025, I can honestly say I've never seen it. I have nothing to do with it. I didn't read it, but I did hear some things in there that I would totally disagree with. And I said to the people that were really the people behind it, you know who those people are? I said, you really had no right doing this to me, because they used it as a soundbite, the Democrats. And I don't know, it couldn't have been too effective because they got slaughtered.
Perfect. Absolutely. Reiterated what he said from the beginning, that you and I and everybody else with common sense said it from the beginning, too. Why did they release? I was so mad. I remember the day when they released this thing. I was so mad that they did it. In fact, I remember saying at the time, would you like to lose an election? Because this is exactly how you do it. You know, as far as a communicator's perspective, this is exactly what you do. You put a big chunk of red meat on a plate, put a little bit of salt and pepper on it, and you hand it to your opposition. That's what Project 2025 was. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. as far as tactics or strategy or communication. So bad, I actually thought it was done on purpose within some rhinos in his own party to derail the guy. I still think that may have been the case. It was so dumb. And for him to come out now, like he has consistently, to come out and say it, the smartest thing he did was not read it, not get involved with it, not understand it, but then to reiterate that he had nothing to do with it. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. There's no more questions she can ask him about that. She's done. First thing he said was, I didn't even read it. Some of it I like, some of it I don't, but it's plausible deniability. I had nothing to do with it, and I didn't read it, so how can you ask me about it? Media masterclass from that guy. We can all apply that too. The lessons that Trump gives you. You're in a corporate situation and somebody asks you about something you had nothing to do with. Say, I didn't even read it. It's got nothing to do with me. End of story. I hope he's still now I get it through my thick head. Light dawns in Marblehead why I understand why he still does media interviews like that. Because he owns it. Because he owns it. And he got smart too in the last administration. You might remember this. Whenever they try to selectively edit out his comments or cut him off again, he has his own camera crew recording the entire thing start to finish. That's the agreement, so that they can't get away with that anymore. The guy owns the media. Just does. He's an energy monster. All right, this happened on Friday, shortly after the live stream ended. The Daniel Penny case got very interesting. So the worst of the charges against him, I guess was the second-degree manslaughter, got dropped. A lot of the legal experts are saying this is so that the jury can come back today, and they will, and get him on the second charge, which is lesser, but the prosecutors can always go back to their city in New York and say, but we got him on this, and he's guilty, and blah, 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 and whatever. I don't know, whatever. Whole country still supports him for the most part, except this. As soon as that came out on Friday, I kind of forgot about them, to be honest with you. Black Lives Matter leader Hawk Newsom came out with a press conference. What's interesting about this is the lack of attention the press conference got. Because I think even, I'd say 2.5 years ago, this would have been all anybody was talking about over the weekend. But let me ask you this. Did you even hear this? Or do you even react to it? Do we have to react to this now?
Everyone has looked at the case. And those among you who say that Daniel Penny is innocent have racism and bias in your heart.
No. Sorry. No, that's not the case. No. See, but that's what's different now. Now you can look at that and say, wait a minute, we looked at the facts. We looked at this and we saw that the guy that wound up dying, Jordan Neely, was threatening people, had said to a mom and her little baby, I'm going to kill you, had taken off his jacket, was acting erratically and threatening people. We know those facts. And by the way, we also know this fact, Hawk Newsom. Some of the other train passengers, the subway passengers that helped Daniel Penny restrain the guy, were also black. So he's telling us they're racist too? No, I don't think so. Here's what's different. And again, I know I go back to this, but it's one of the biggest changes in society ever. We run the media now, like Elon says, because you don't have to listen to this anymore. This is why this thing got no attention. 2-3 years ago, that press conference where he said anybody that disagrees with, that thinks Daniel Penny is innocent is racist, that would have gotten all kinds of attention. And then he went on and called for street violence and all this stuff. That may not happen because we don't listen to that anymore because that many more people like you and me and everybody else are able to get hold of the facts. That's end of story. That's it. My fear on this trial, and I think you might have had the same thing too, was that, oh man, I hope there's not riots over this. I really don't. I'm starting to think now because of the lack of reaction to what that guy got, Hawk Newsom, I don't think there will be riots over that. I really don't. I honestly thought there would be riots already after the Trump win. That hasn't happened because less and less people believe it because there's less and less propaganda. Oh, it's still out there, but it's getting countered by information that you can seek out yourself and ask your own questions. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. The opposite of that, let me give you a perfect example, and it's amazing it happened this weekend. Happens a lot, actually, but what we don't want to be, the opposite of that is the UK. Let's go to England. I don't know exactly what city in England, but this was just posted, ironically enough, on Friday. So they're arresting, this is not hyperbole, I'm not making this up, they're arresting people in Europe, specifically in the UK, for what's deemed to be offensive social media posts. Yeah. This guy posted it, and the exact arrest, and I got to say, I think he handled it actually really, really well. Arrested for a offensive Facebook post. And this is when they came to his home.
So I'm actually being
You're
arrested.
going to be arrested, okay?
Right,
So you
and-
got to the police station.
Right.
Ask you, okay, this is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page. Okay?
Oh, really? Oh, it's a Facebook crime, is it?
Okay.
Right.
So we need to ask you some questions about that.
I don't know exactly what it was. I think I read this. It was about, could have been, you know what? It doesn't matter. It could have been, the topic could have been about anything. What matters here, and the point is, he was arrested for words. This is what, I hope we all realize how close we were to this. I hope. It's not going to happen now, but this was the direction we were heading. This is what we don't want to be. France is the same. I know Germany's pretty bad too, but that's one of the worst examples of it I've ever heard. Just stop for a second and think about it and break it down like that guy did in his funny Cockney accent. It's a Facebook crime, is it? I mean, that's what we saved ourselves from. That right there. Arresting people for social media posts. And it's so funny because they always try to put together, and Kamala had proposed this, don't forget, not to jump back into politics or the election, but she had. They were all in support of it. A truth in media and an anti-hate campaign. Well, here's the problem. They get to decide what hate speech is. And if they disagree with it or it upends their narrative or their propaganda, they will come and arrest you like that guy. That's not far off. And by the way, while this is happening in our supposed closest ally in the world, culturally and politically, no, that's no ally. Sorry, it's not. Maybe we can be friends again, England, UK, someday. Not now. No, sorry. I'm not going. That's another thing. Knowing that they arrest people, anybody, foreign travelers, that guy, a resident, their own taxpayers, their citizens, their subjects of the king, knowing that they'll do that to their own people, do you think for a second they wouldn't arrest me if I went to London and, oh my God, like what I talk about every day in the live stream and like criticizing things and taking shots at people, or wrote something on, not on Facebook a lot these days because I hate it, but wrote something on X within their borders? Of course, if somebody reported it, of course I'd be arrested. Of course you would be arrested. Of course you would. There's no circumstance, amount of money, gift, vacation, anything that would bring me to the UK right now. There's not going to do it. And they shouldn't be an ally, and they should not be considered an ally while they're doing stuff like this. Let's talk about how the guy handled it, too. Sitting there calmly as... Now, over in the States, we'd be so out... The sad thing is they're so used to it that he's like, oh, okay, right. I was expecting a Facebook arrest, is it? Right. It happened so much he wasn't surprised. We would be outraged and would probably wind up in a taser or worse situation and fighting and whatever. Guy handled it pretty calmly and pretty well, though, and very smartly. Did video it, and it got out to the world, and it showed the rest of us in free societies exactly what's going on over there. That's what we don't want to become ever. Your free speech has never been more important, and I will tell you, they don't have it. English residents do not have free speech right now. It's just a real shame. Oh, but that's our ally. No, they're not. Nope, no, they're not. And I hope someday we have other priorities and things to take care of, like the economy and immigration and crime and everything else over here. But I hope at some point somebody in the administration comes out and says that too. Comes out and admonishes England for their lack of free speech. Because they really should. That's insane. That is a crazy thing that just happened. And it happens by the thousands of cases every single day in Europe and especially the UK. Nope. No friend of ours. Sorry. Can't have it. The poor guy. Hopefully he made bail or whatever they have over there. All right. After all that, let's lighten it up with my favorite story of the day. It is the Christmas season. Merry Christmas, everybody. And I love how people decorate. I did notice this. I don't know whether it means anything in my own particular neighborhood, which is usually about like half and half people. It's a pretty big neighborhood. It's like ultimate suburbia. It's about half houses decorate for Christmas and the holidays, and about half don't. My own anecdotal, completely unscientific observation is more people than ever, earlier, and more of it, decorated for the holidays this year. That may not mean anything, or it may mean that people are more in the Christmas spirit this year, and there's more hope than ever about things like not becoming the UK, or they're just in a good mood and you can't wait for Christmas, maybe. Well, as a Florida man, not me, checking in on this one. He is in Satellite Beach. I think it was Satellite Beach. Hold on, let me get the town right, because if you ever visit this area, you got to check it out. He is in, I want to get this right because the pictures are amazing, Neptune Beach, excuse me. If you're in Neptune Beach, Florida, you got to stop by this guy's house because decorated his yard with a giant leg lamp, like from the Christmas Story. I actually have a couple of those, but they're decorative and they're like this, and I have it in the back of the pub up here and everything else. But this guy has a 20-foot leg lamp like from Christmas Story. If you didn't see Christmas Story, quite frankly, I don't know if you're American. You need to see it because the dad in Christmas Story got the leg lamp and he was so excited about it. It's a major award. It says right there, Fragile. Well, this guy, and this amazing thing is, and this goes to my point about people being in the Christmas spirit, decorated his whole yard with this thing, and his neighbors apparently love it.
It's 420% bigger than the one that appears in the movie, so it's 20 feet tall. So this is golf netting that I bought off Amazon. The fringe, 14-inch fringe, there's a half mile of that. Wow. Everyone's decorating their houses, and I thought it'd be fun to have like a neighborhood competition who could have like the best Christmas decorations. And I was tossing and turning one night, and then I had like this epiphany. Sometimes their kids haven't seen the movie, and they're like, oh no, we gotta go home and we're gonna force you to watch this movie. A 40-year-old movie with no CGI, and people are still quoting it 40 years later.
Man, if you thought you were into your Christmas decorations, this guy had an epiphany in his sleep. That's how much he was thinking about it. I love it. You got to see the pictures and video of this thing on your own time. It's amazing. It's freaking amazing. A lot of work went into this. And the great thing is, I always expect these stories to come out and it makes the news because neighbors complained. And I'm sure there's a couple of people in the neighborhood not happy about it. I'm sure that always happens. You're always going to have some Grinches. But most people love this. And, you know, the local yokel news monkey organization up there, the talking heads, went and they talked to some of the neighbors, and everybody seems to be down for it. I love it. Good for you, leg lamp man. I bet you he didn't think about where he's going to store this thing in the off-season, but that's his problem. It's also this, and I thought this was interesting. I don't know why they need their own day, but it's National Christmas Card Day. I don't know what different about any other day, but let me ask you this. When was the last time you sent out a Christmas card? Do you? Or got one? Because I mean, I get a couple. I don't think I've ever sent out a Christmas card. Maybe that's terrible, but these are different times now. Do you get those Christmas greeting update family things like it's a novel in the mail? It's like month by month, year by year, what we did this year. I kind of like that. I don't mind that. But have Christmas cards gone completely away? Do we have a National Christmas Card Day because Big Christmas Card is trying to sell? Maybe it's from Hallmark. That's who's behind this. We just figured it out. Hallmark is behind National Christmas Card Day. I think there's a better way to go about this, though. I mean, it's personalized. I will say this. If you write Christmas cards now and it actually gets through the snail mail and gets to your loved one, it stands out like a sore thumb in a good way because nobody does it anymore. And if it's handwritten, a handwritten Christmas card, good for you. Okay. It's your own choice. If I get one now as opposed to like 10 years ago, I'm like looking at it going, oh, God, there's a bill. Wow. Somebody actually wrote a Christmas card and took the time to do it. Not a bad communication technique. That's all I'm saying. Because most of us are what? Our loved ones will text them, hey, Merry Christmas. A little more personalized when you write it. All right, thanks for finding me. The audio podcast is always available wherever you get them. Usually posted about 9 a.m. Eastern time, right around there. Apple is always a little slower than Spotify and iHeart, but it gets there. And then this lives as a repost in the live stream and on YouTube as well. With all that said, what's our takeaway? If you're going to write a Christmas card, make it personalized. That's what. And don't be afraid to put your decorations out. And get your kids playing baseball because you might become the richest sports player of all time, like Juan Soto did. My God. And as always, don't take any crap from anybody. It's Monday. Let's get it going. Let's have a wicked awesome day and a wicked awesome week. We'll talk to you later.